Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 21st February 2024. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual blog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Haribol, TSV Nectar, Nectar, nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been trying to study, discuss, and analyze all the information and the knowledge that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been trying to do in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of a discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been trying to delve in depth into the mind and psyche of every human living entity, whether male or female, in a lifetime in this material world. This would help us in discovering in detail how, why, when, and where one human living entity, whether male or female, behaves in a particular manner and conducts his or her life in a particular manner. We all know that during any given lifetime, this society in this material world is multicolored like a kaleidoscope. There are more shades than colors in a rainbow. There are positive thinking, negative thinking, neutral thinking, ambitious, dynamic, greedy, lusty, illusory, megalomaniacs, people residing on ivory towers, plain, simple laborers, workers, and artisans, and people who genuinely want to live their particular life in a mundane manner. Why does every human living entity, whether a male or female, decides to behave and live in a particular manner through his or her lifetime in the society at any given time? What effects or monitors or regulates or guides his or her mass of tissue called brain in his or her gross body to behave in a particular manner? In any society at any given time, there are rishis, maharishis, evangelists, godmen, monks, saints, scientists, philosophers, intellectuals, postgraduates, undergraduates, graduates, PhDs, MPhils, illiterate guys, semi-literate guys, blue-collared guys, white-collared guys, skilled labor, unskilled labor, and what not. The priority of every human living entity is different from the other. Every one of them looks through the life through his or her colored goggles in his or her eyes. They look at life very differently from the other. Why does it happen this way when all of us are creations of the same supreme personality of Godhead and we have all come into this terra firma as human living entities, both male and female? Logically speaking, all of us must behave, act, and react similarly so that everything in this particular society in any given lifetime is quite simple and easy to maneuver, monitor, and manipulate. But things are not like that. It is this we are trying to understand the cause or result of the vibrations caused by the three subtle bodies of every human living entity and the result of their own individual brains selecting some of those vibrations transmitted to them through their own mind and then using that selected vibration from any subtle body to force the gross body to act in a particular manner. Some use the physical faculties, some the sensual faculties, some business intelligence, some are creative, and some are meditative or contemplative. This variety of human living entities intrigues one to find out why it happens only to human living entities, both male and female. Trees, beasts, animals, insects, birds, bees, worms, algae, amoeba, shrubs, weeds, grass, etc. do not have so much variety in their behavior as human beings do. Usually, those living entities which are not human behave almost alike to each of their own counterparts. Elephants, lions, other beasts, etc. act similar to each other and they do not have a complicated lifestyle. This is because in their case, the only subtle body in their particular case from which vibrations emanate and hit the brain of those individual living entities is the etheric body of senses. In other words, the vibrations are not complicated by individual vibrations from the other two subtle bodies, namely the body of astral mind of feelings and emotions and the causal body of logic and intelligence. It is only the human living entity who is affected by vibrations from all three subtle bodies, thus confusing the brain, which is hit by vibrations from all these bodies through that subtle mind, and it has to decide on which vibration from which subtle body to select and make the gross body of that human living entity act or react accordingly. This is precisely the reason for the variety in nature of all human living entities. While studying this, we came across a particular fact that at any given time, this society of human living entities may be broadly divided into three categories. The first category comprises of 75% of such humanity, the other of 20% of such humanity, and the last only 5% of such humanity. It is probably that which decides on the variety of behaviors, actions, and reactions of all human living entities in a particular society at any given lifetime. While discussing, analyzing, and studying these particular subjects about human psyche, we decided to find out how true we were by studying several case histories of human living entities which would authenticate our theory about the behavior or otherwise of any average human living entity in this particular society. In that process, we began discussing the case history of one Mr. Charles Gurumukh Sobraj and his own star-crossed and checkered life. Not only are we trying to analyze the psyche of Charles Gurumukh Sobraj, but we are also trying to study the lives of all other human living entities who are basically very different from this person, but who were or are directly or indirectly, deliberately or otherwise, advertently or inadvertently, knowingly or otherwise connected to this particular character in their own individual lifetime. While listening or studying about this particular subject, we had to delve deep into two particular terms called destiny and karma. Destiny is the basic framework in which a particular human living entity lives and operates in a given lifetime. On the other hand, karma is based on the actions and reactions of the same particular human living entity, and those actions and reactions are based on several factors which continuously and perpetually assail the same human living entity through different lifetimes. These factors could be circumstances, atmosphere, upbringing, community, caste, creed, race, color, prejudice, discrimination, ego, tastes, preferences, whims, and fantasies. Which factor which affects which particular human living entity, when, where, and how is what is the foundation for the variety in this particular society of human living entities. Now, we are talking about Charles Gurmukh Sobraj. We talked about his father, Hachand Sobraj, who suffered from a necessary evil called lust. His own mother, the pretty Noi, who suffered from another evil called greed. He himself, who suffered from another evil called illusion. His own younger sister, Nickel, who was quite normal, sane, wise, and intelligent, and above all, the person called Mr. Yon, who was basically a French soldier stationed in Saigon, but who fell in love with the same pretty Noi, married her, and adopted her own two children from her first husband, Hachand Sobraj. We stopped at the juncture where Yon decided to leave Saigon for good and relocate to his own country of France along with his new family consisting of Noe, Charles, and Nickel. We shall continue from that particular spot to understand human psyche better. Knowing as a wife who had decided to marry Yon, found it logical to relocate with him to France and to lead a comfortable life in France. Nickel, on the other hand, the second child of the same Noi, did not feel that she had any other alternative but to follow her own mother and a brother to France, which was the native country of her own stepfather, Yon. She felt that anyway he had to live a particular a mundane life, whether she lived in Saigon, Vietnam, or in France. He had to live only as a normal and common national or citizen of that particular country. However, the third person, the main protagonist or antagonist of this particular case history, Charles Gurumukh Sobraj, turned out to be an exception. I had already mentioned that his own mother, Noe, had once said, "My son looked like an angel when he was born and when he was a tiny child. But I wonder when the devil crept into his psyche and mind and made him what he became later in life. How this happened, we will try to understand in this story. Charles was born with a golden spoon in his mouth. The first few years of his life were so luxurious, comfortable, and lavish that he, through his own innocent, childlike, tender mind, took it for granted that his life will be so rosy and luxurious even in later times, thanks to his such affluent, intelligent, dynamic, and successful businessman as Hochand Chobaraj. However, it was probably his own destiny and his own prarabdha karma that decided to put a zinger or spanner into his own fireworks in such a way that his life drastically changed overnight when he was 3 or 4 years old. This boy was stunned when he found that the same housemaid who used to serve him and his own family breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and who used to do the household chores till yesterday, had today suddenly become the mistress of the same household by marrying the master of that household, Hochand Shobraj, leaving him, his mother, and his sister high and dry in the streets of Saigon. Much as probably he wanted to, Charles Gurmukh Sobraj could not accept this strange quirk of fate. This is all I wanted to talk about in this particular video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert views, thoughts, opinions, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.